I think New York is the best city in the world. I think TRIBECA is the best neighborhood in New York. If you actually look at TRIBECA, it's actually building the human scale. You don't see lots of high rises beside 56 Leonard. And I think it kind of creates like interesting sensation in a human being.
Asaf, thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course. We're missing your other half, Nicole, Hector, your teammate. You guys have some great listings, and you guys are doing some great work together. Tell us about that team dynamic. When did you guys start working together? How did that start?
Yeah, well, first of all, Nicole is my work wife, and just is in real life my better half. I like to think. I think we have like a great team, like great dynamic, amazing synergy between the two of us. And the funny thing, how we got working together was, at least 4 years ago, we used to work at Town Residential. And they put us on a new project called 204 Forsyth, which was a new development. And prior to that, that development was on the market for a while and wasn't very successful. And once the two of us got together, we started transacting like crazy. And the dynamic between the two of us, we're very similar, but then very much different. And it really helped. Like we were able to divide and see like who worked better with this client or other client. And her vision is so phenomenal, and my marketing background. And as I said, it's like a great synergy between the two of us. And we've been very successful since. And we're not only working together, I consider Nicole my best friend. So I'm very lucky, and I wish she was sitting next to me right now. But while I'm sitting talking to you, she's closing some deals right now.
Well, that's how it should be. That's how it should be. And we'll have Nicole on a future episode. But it's great working with the both of you. Towards the end of last year, we started producing a lot of videos for you, mostly on Laight Street, which seems to be an area where you're doing a lot of sales. And furthermore, it seems that every apartment that we shoot for you is like 3,000 square feet, massive, the coolest spaces we get to shoot. One in which was 44 Laight Street, Unit 3A. Tell me a little bit about that space, and also, how did you end up getting that one sold?
Yeah, that actually was a phenomenal apartment. It was a vision, it was a completely gut renovated. The owner, she's a very unique person, very spiritual, and the place really reflects who she was. She chose every aspect of that apartment, she actually curated and executed. So it was very, very unique place. And for me, it was a challenge, actually, if you just shoot photos, how do you convey the story, especially during a pandemic? And this is where I had a great video made by you. And I do think that really helped. Because really, in a video, you were able to show extra things that you were not able to show in the photos. Also, during the time, in the midst of the pandemic, we didn't really do too many showings. And the fact that people were able to see her vision and the space in a video really helped us. And in the end, we actually had more than 70 showings on that particular space. And the amazing part, while we know the market doesn't yield the high prices like of 3 or 5 years ago, this listing was sold at the highest price per square foot in the building.
Congratulations on that sale. That's awesome. That space was so beautiful, and it's spaces like that allow us to really show off what we're able to do too, and it kind of makes us look good too. So thanks for giving us the opportunity to shoot that space, and congratulations on the sale of that space. That's a conversion. It was an original warehouse, right? I mean, what's the story with that building?
It was actually a piping company back in the day. And the interesting part, the third floor which I sold, that's where actually the vault used to be. So you have the owner actually kept like lots of the original architecture details, which made the space extra unique.
Moving down the street, you had a couple of videos that we did at 79 Laight Street. Again, 2 huge, beautiful, 3,000 square foot plus spaces. And I know that you sold and closed both of those. Why don't you tell me first about 3A?
Yeah, 3A was actually very unique because it didn't only have the double height, it also had direct water views, which is very rare in TRIBECA to have such an open space with water views. It was actually also another designer who lived in the place, and that was her vision. And we were able to convey it again via video. It's not something you can easily show with pictures again. And the owner, it was very interesting because the new owner, it's a pied-à-terre for him, someone who lived overseas, and I do think the video really helped them to see the potential of the space. And on a side note, he actually looked at some other spaces with me, but he chose that place because of how much I was excited about 79 Laight Street, because I live in the area. And it meant a lot to him to have me, to buy a place when he has a broker that is not going to run away or disappear after the transaction, that I'm still going to be part of his life when he's visiting the city, and forth so. So that's a very special sale for me.
That's great. I'm glad to hear that one sold. You also had another really awesome space in that building, Unit 4F. Tell me a little bit about that transaction.
So that transaction, actually, it was also very interesting because I actually sold that place before. The owner, the new owner, not the owner who sold it this time, I did not represent him. He had a different broker. But he really enjoyed the process when I represented the seller, and he decided to give me the listing. We listed it in August when the pandemic was really in high gear. And the video, again, was a great tool for me to show it to as many people as possible without actually visiting the place. So the video was very important. We had about 30 or 40 showings in that one as well. And I'm very happy the buyer was someone who's living in the area and really liked the building. It's a very unique building, very unique space. So we sold it.
Really glad that you're making these sales. I'm even more glad to know that our videos are helping to, accelerate your marketing and get your listings out in front of more people. So that's really awesome. You live in that building, you live in that neighborhood. You've also have an extensive real estate background. I know you sell all over Manhattan, but what is it about TRIBECA in that area that you love so much?
TRIBECA for me is a very unique neighborhood. I actually, I was, as you can tell by my accent, I was born in Los Angeles, but I grew up in Israel, then I was living in London for a while, back in LA, and then I moved to New York in 2005. And I think New York is the best city in the world. I think TRIBECA is the best neighborhood in New York. And I think for me, if you actually look at TRIBECA, it's actually building the human scale. You don't see lots of high rises beside 56 Leonard. And I think it kind of creates interesting sensation in a human being. It really creates an atmosphere of a small village, the human interaction. And I think it really shows, and I do like the parks over there and the proximity to the water. So it's my favorite neighborhood in the world, actually, not just in New York.
I feel you. I have the same feeling about New York City. Born and raised here my whole life, so I agree. It is the greatest city in the world, and I'm glad that you're enjoying it as well. Now let's shift it down to a new listing that you have that's just a little further away from TRIBECA at 202 Bowery. Tell us a little bit about that listing and that neighborhood and what's going on there.
Yeah, it's a very unique building. It's a small boutique building. It's a floor-through apartment. And I really like the layout. It's 2 bedrooms, 2 baths. There's a nice small balcony, which, we keep talking about chef kitchen in every listing, but he's a real chef. He's a restaurant owner. He likes to cook. He has a smoker in the balcony, which is phenomenal. And I actually really like the area. Actually, I used to live not far from there before I moved to TRIBECA about 11 years ago. And you're actually on Nolita. I personally really like the Bowery. I love all the rock and roll history and the proximity to Soho and everything. So I'm very bullish on the area. I know it's up and coming, it's been up and coming for a while, but I do think there's going to still a lots of value in the Bowery, especially in that section of the Bowery, and it's a great place.
Well, Asaf, congratulations on those sales. Good luck on the new listing at 202 Bowery, and keep doing what you're doing. And I'm looking forward to doing some more work with you and having you on another episode in the near future.
Absolutely.
Thank you.